arrival of Japan to Indonesia during World War II was triggered by economic needs and political and military ambition. Japan really needed natural resources such as oil, rubber, and tin to support its war machine. The economic embargo from the United States and its allies pushed Japan to find alternative resources, and Indonesia became the main target because of its natural wealth. In addition, Japan wanted to form a Great East Asia Common Prosperity region and use all brother propaganda to persuade Asian countries, including Indonesia, to accept their presence.
Japan saw the opportunity. Indonesia is cold. As a result, military operations in Southeast Asia were underway. Only one country failed, the Philippines, Malaya, and Singapore to the arrival of Indonesia. By early 1942, the Japanese were spread across several regions, including Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and even Java. Dutch forces were defenseless in no time. They departed without warning on March 8, 1942 at Kalijati, Subang. By this time, the Dutch colonial period was coming to an end. A new chapter began, the Japanese occupation.
The invasion of Indonesia began in early 1942. The Japanese landed at several strategic points in Indonesia, starting from Tarakan, East Kalimantan on January 11, 1942. With superior military strength and blitzkrieg tactics, the Japanese managed to occupy other important areas such as Balikpapan, Manado, Ambon, and Palembang in a short time. Fierce battles were fought in several places, but the weak and ill-prepared Dutch East Indies Army was unable to withstand the Japanese onslaught. The culmination of the invasion was the Battle of the Java Sea on February 27, 1942, in which the Allied navies suffered defeat. On March 8, 1942, the commander of the Dutch East Indies Army, Lieutenant General Hinter Porten, officially surrendered unconditionally to the Japanese at Kalijati, Subang, West Java. This event marked the end of Dutch colonial rule in Indonesia and the beginning of the Japanese occupation.
The Japanese came with a mass known as Old Brother. They claimed they had come to build Asia for Indonesia and to liberate Indonesia from Dutch colonialism. People who had long been oppressed by the Dutch greeted them with hope, but that hope was soon dashed. The Japanese presented a new and more terrible predicament. Under the term Romusa, people were forced to work without pay. They were used to build railways, bridges, and fortifications. Many left and starved. Rice was confiscated by the Japanese army. The people's main food was sweet potatoes and cassava. The system used at the time was authoritarian. The Japanese government felt most powerful and colonialism took a place.
Japan implemented policies aimed at protecting its military interests and supporting their war in the Pacific. Some of the key policies include the establishment of military rule, where Japan established strict military rule throughout Indonesia. In addition, Japan launched anti-Western propaganda and tension of Asian brotherhood under Japanese leadership. They also made the Indonesian people to support Japanese war through organizations such as Heiho, Soldiers Auxiliary, PETA, Defenders of the Fatherland, and Pujinkai Women's Organization.
Despite intense pressure and surveillance, resistance to the Japanese occupation continued in various forms. Armed resistance emerged in several areas, such as resistance in Aceh, Singaparna, Tasikmalaya, West Java, and Blitar, Central Java. Namely, the Defenders of the Motherland or PETA. The Japanese occupation had a considerable impact on Indonesia, namely loss of life and suffering, where millions of Indonesians became victims of forced labor, starvation, and violence during the occupation. The Japanese occupation destroyed the colonial power structure and opened up space for new elites to emerge. In addition, there was also a strengthening of nationalism, where, although initially intended for the Japanese interests, Japan's military training policy indirectly strengthened the sense of nationalism and awareness of one's own strengths among Indonesian youths. However, Japan promised independence to Indonesia in the future as a tactic to gain support in the war. This promise, although not entirely sincere, gave momentum to Indonesian struggle for independence after Japan surrendered to the Allies.
When Hiroshima and Nagasaki were atomic bombed by the United States, the massive explosion destroyed the two cities and killed hundreds of thousands of people, and Japan's military power declined immediately. In the end, Japan's defeat in World War II had opened up great opportunities for the Indonesian people. In the midst of this atmosphere, Indonesian youth saw a golden opportunity that should not be wasted, because they felt that it was the right time to proclaim independence without foreign interference, especially Japan's.
The Japanese invasion of Indonesia brought pain and suffering, but from that dark period also grew courage, awareness, and the spirit of self-determination. The Japanese come as occupiers, but their departure opened the door to a new history, the history of independence. Today, we remember that time not with excitement, but as a reminder that independence never comes easily. It is born from suffering, from courage, and from unflagging determination.